So my name is Jeremy Cowart, and this is my story. I was born in Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up in a suburb of Nashville called Hendersonville. Hendersonville was originally known for being the hometown to Johnny Cash, but now it's known for being the hometown to Taylor Swift. I love you, Taylor. Growing up, I was never smart. I couldn't pay attention for more than 3 minutes. I was a terrible listener and I made bad grades. I was quiet, shy, and really just average. I remember always telling my mom and dad, I can't do this. I took piano lessons. I can't do this. Everything I did ended with those words. I can't do this. That's when my dad started reprogramming my brain. He reprogrammed it with one simple sentence. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. He said this for years, over and over and over again. Then in 7th grade, I discovered that I could draw. So I started taking art more seriously. Something came alive in me whenever I would create. Here I was failing miserably at all the mandatory academics, but I came to life in the optional arts. Heck, I was even tested with some fancy aptitude test my senior year. And here were the official results. Inductive reasoning, 15 out of 100. Analytical reasoning, 5 out of 100. Structural visualization, 15 out of 100. Observation, 15 out of 100. English vocabulary, 5 out of 100. That's right, 5. I'm pretty sure it's actually still 5. So perfect. It's now been confirmed that I'm a complete and total moron. Thank you, aptitude test. But when it came time for college, all I knew was art. I could make pretty things, but that was about it. So I wanted to be a painter for the rest of my life. My parents made a call that was very wise and in hindsight was way ahead of their time. They said it's going to be tough to make a living as a painter. You should look into graphic design and computers instead. Whoa, here comes those 2 words again. I can't. Computers are for smart people. Computers are for people who can focus. I'm not smart, so therefore I can't. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, they reminded me. So off to the races, I went ahead and reluctantly jumped in. And guess what happened? I fell in love. It turns out that Photoshop is the coolest tool on the planet. And it's not just for smart people, it's for anybody. And it was definitely for me. So I studied graphic design in college and got my first job at a high-end ad agency. After a year, my boss fired me, and not only did he fire me, but he suggested that I find another career altogether. Thanks, boss. But see, he was too late. I had already started believing that I could do anything I wanted to do. So thankfully, I ignored him and I worked for a couple more ad agencies. And then I finally realized that the ad agency world, at least for me, was boring. I was designing websites for air conditioning companies, and it's literally impossible to make an AC unit look sexy. So at the time, I had a few friends doing music. I knew how to design album covers on websites, so why not work for my friends instead? After having the idea, I quit my comfortable job the next day. I didn't think, I just jumped. Besides, I can now do all things. I called the company Pixel Grazer and it blew up. Album covers, websites, merch, we did it all. And one day a friend said, hey, you should buy this new thing called a digital camera. Here we go again, back to square one. I can't. There's no way. Photography is for smart people. I took one photography class in college and I made a D. My professor seemed to hate me. So I swore off photography for life. I literally told people that I would never become a photographer. So what did I do? I went to the bookstore and bought a book called Digital Photography for Dummies, True Story. I learned about these scary things called f-stop, shutter speeds, ISO, white balance, and more. To my utter surprise, I understood it all. So maybe I wasn't an idiot after all. So I went and bought a whopping 3 megapixel Canon G1 and was ready to take over the world. Next thing you know, I was shooting portraits of my musician friends for fun, and I wasn't awful. So I told all my design clients, hey, I'm taking pictures now too. You know what happened? They started hiring me. Big labels paying me big dollars to photograph people with a 3 megapixel camera, no lie. So photography took off. It's all I wanted to do. I told my business partner and all my clients, hey, I'm just a photographer now, no more design. And it worked. I started landing a lot of gigs. One of those jobs was for another record label, and I ended up beating a well-known Hollywood agent in her roster of celebrity photographers. So she calls me and she said, hey, I'd love to represent you. Your work is amazing. By the way, you know how to light sets, right? Sure. But honestly, I had never lit a big set before. So we signed a deal, and within weeks I was shooting for TV networks like E! and Fox. And then I got to shoot this guy named Sting. Crazy, right? Immediate success was shocking. I went from amateur photographer to celebrity photographer in just a few months. So since then, I've now photographed a long list of celebrities: the Kardashians, Ryan Seacrest, Taylor Swift, Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Gwyneth Paltrow, and many, many more. I've now published 4 photography books. I toured the country with Britney Spears for 3 months as her tour photographer. I photographed President Obama on the very first day of his presidency. I got to document Pope Francis's first visit to the United States. My images have now been published in Rolling Stone, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, Vanity Fair, every other magazine I personally could have dreamed of. I have more than 1 million followers across all the various social networks. I once had my own idea for a social network called OK Do This, and then we spent years, we brought that to life, and it's now free in the App Store for you. I'm now an inventor. I invented some lighting equipment that is going to be released later this year. My work for St. Thomas Health, the hospital I was born in, was recently nominated for an Emmy Award. Ironically, or not so ironically, the name of the campaign was Nothing Shall Be Impossible. In July of 2015, Adweek named me one of 10 visual artists who are changing the way we see advertising and the world. To top it all off, recently, Huffington Post named me the most influential photographer on the internet. So I did it. I made it. But wait, so what? Seriously, who cares? Was being a photography rock star really my goal? I realized that I shouldn't aim for greatness and stop there. Greatness should serve a greater purpose. So what was my greater purpose? That led me to the idea of giving photos away to people in need. I gathered together a few photography friends and we spent the day at a gym giving photos away to people in need. I put a simple video on Facebook showing how the day went, and people responded with, hey, I want to be a part of this if you ever want to do it again. So that's when I had the idea. What if this was a global event where photographers did this all over the world? No way, I can't. Global? You see, that thinking that my parents instilled in me not only helped me overcome my challenges and insecurities, but it blew off my limitations and opened up the world to me. So why not start a global movement? 9 months later, I put the idea on my blog and social media, and word spread fast. So what happened that December 12th of 2009? 3,400 photographers and 5,000 volunteers responded, and they gave away 41,000 portraits in 543 locations and 42 countries around the world. Since then, the number is now approaching 100,000 people that have given away nearly 500,000 portraits in 70 countries in every American state. But it's not the numbers that count, it's the stories. Dignity, beauty, value, a sense of self-worth. These are all the things being given away that material possessions can't deliver. We've seen grown women have their hair and makeup done for the first time. We've seen grown men have their first ever picture taken outside of their jail mugshot. We've restored family photos after natural disasters. We've had children see their own faces for the very first time in third world countries. We've seen tears after people realize that maybe they can get a new job using their new headshot from Help Portrait. We've heard photographers say, this is the greatest thing I've ever done with my camera. We've seen photography competitors become community after serving together. So Help Portrait was a crazy simple idea that has now reached around the world. and it's continuing to reach around the world. I would love for all of you to get involved. Our annual event is always on the first Saturday of every December. So mark your calendars now and get involved at helpportrait.com. So it all made me realize that a simple idea and a camera can go a long way. So how else could I help? So when the earthquake struck Haiti, I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe my eyes. But more importantly, I couldn't believe what the media was saying about it. They just kept mentioning how many buildings had fallen down, how many people died. It was all stats. But what about the people? What about their stories, I wondered. So as I sat on my couch watching CNN, I wondered, what if these people could tweet? What would they tell the world right now? But many of them couldn't tweet at the time, so what if I went down there myself and gave them a microphone in the form of a photograph? So we went around asking people what they had to tell the world. The results were staggering, heart-wrenching, beautiful, and inspiring. After losing his leg in the earthquake, this man said, "My chopped leg is not the problem. The lack of government is the problem." After laying in a hospital bed for days, this woman said, "Oh, the things I've seen." This man said, "The earth may shake, but Haiti remains in my heart." This woman simply prayed, "God, please show me the path of hope." Well, somebody had hope. We eventually heard there was a wedding going on, and the thought was crazy. There were still aftershocks happening. There were still dead bodies laying everywhere. Who in their right mind would get married amongst all this devastation? So we finally found the wedding, and we asked them what they had to say to the world. And the response blew us away. They wrote on the paper plate, "Love conquers all." When the project was done, I didn't want to just share them on a blog post. I knew it would get lost, it would fly by, people would just forget it. So instead, I released one image a day for 70 days. And because of the slow release on social media, the United Nations eventually caught wind of the project. They printed the images for a monumental meeting with many of our world leaders who are going to be making a pledge towards rebuilding Haiti. So after walking through a hallway of my Voices of Haiti images before the meeting, they sat down and they pledged $10 billion that day to rebuild Haiti. The voices were heard. That project was so fulfilling that I decided to do it again. But this time I thought it would be fascinating to shoot portraits of Rwandan genocide survivors standing with the people that killed their families and whom they've now forgiven. I called it Voices of Reconciliation. Jasper, pictured on the right, locked arms with Innocent on the left. Innocent killed Jasper's older brother during the '94 Rwandan genocide. Jasper and Innocent later reconciled while attending a workshop hosted by the As We Forgive Rwanda initiative, and today work together in an agricultural association. They are pictured in the exact spot where the murder took place. And they wrote on their arms, "Love is the weapon that kills all evil." Honor on the right and Jean on the left were childhood best friends until the genocide erupted. Honor's parents and 5 cousins were brutally killed. Later, he discovered that Jean had participated in the murder of his cousins. Honor confronted Jean while in prison and remarked, "Because I loved him very much, I wanted to forgive him. I wasn't scared of him, but worried that he would be scared of me." But here they are pictured at the scene of the murder. Jean is now helping Honor rebuild his farm and the home that he helped destroy in the first place. And they wrote on that tree between them, "Still best friends." So in this photo, Chantel is on the left, and she never thought she would forgive John, the close family friend who brutally beat her father to death. 14 years after the murder, Chantel and John agreed to attend a healing and reconciliation workshop together. A year later, Chantel publicly forgave John in front of their entire community, saying that her heart had been set free. John and Chantel's story is featured in the Student Academy Award-winning documentary, As We Forgive. The sign that they're holding together says, "Shared past, shared future." And Nasta, pictured on the right, survived the genocide by hiding in a banana tree while his entire family was chased by a mob into the lake, which is pictured here behind them, and they drowned there. Jean, pictured on the left, is the son of the leader of that mob. Although the father fled the country in fear, Jean begged Nasta for forgiveness during the trial, and Nasta, out of his Christian faith, forgave them all. So they picked up this huge rock that was sitting there by the lake, and they wrote on the rock, "Forgiveness releases fear." This project ended up on the homepage of CNN, and it was the leading worldwide headline discussing the power of forgiveness. It also helped spread awareness for the As We Forgive initiative, founded by my friend Laura Waters Henson. A couple years later, I decided to head back to Uganda with my friends at Exile International. But this time I wanted to collaborate with children, specifically former child soldiers who had been abducted by Joseph Kony and the LRA. As a form of art therapy, we worked together to tell their stories. We interviewed them, I took portraits of them, and I had them draw the pains of their past and the dreams of their future. I even taught them how to draw these stories in Photoshop. Their stories weighed so heavy on our team. One girl was forced to participate in the killing of her own mother. She was only 7 at the time. I'll never forget meeting Dilish. She had finished doing her drawings and then she said, "Wait, I didn't finish this story. Can I keep drawing?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." She said, "They killed my parents right in front of us. My baby brother started crying, so they picked him up by his legs and slammed his head into a tree to kill him." She said, "I need to finish drawing that." So what you're seeing come to life is her actual Photoshop drawing of this horrible event. We screen captured all their drawings as they did them. Other stories were even more graphic, more horrific, and more evil to recount here today. But all of them had glimpses of hope and redemption woven throughout, and I wanted to help show that. I took the stories, their portraits, their Photoshop art, and I put my final abstract mixed media spin on it and turned them into these pieces. We are now selling prints of these to raise more money for their continued art therapy. And keep in mind, I personally finished these prints by drawing over top of them and signing them. You can buy these prints right now at exileinternational.org/POSA to support their continued art therapy. Speaking of kids, my wife Shannon and I have 2 biological children, and we just adopted 2 more children from Haiti. You know what I tell them every chance I get? Philippians 4:13. Adoption is one of the hardest things we've ever done as a family, but also the most rewarding. My 2 biological children have welcomed their new siblings with open arms, and our new children are overcoming language and cultural barriers while learning to embrace life in an entirely new environment. Every day they are all reminding us what it means to live out the idea that it took me so long to embrace. Nothing is more important to me than my family. I not only have 2 supportive parents, but I have 2 older brothers as well. In January of 2014, my brothers and I took our daughters to a daddy-daughter dance. My older brother, Mike, also a photographer, took just 1 photo of me and my daughter that night that you see here. Then in return, I took just 1 photo of he and his daughter as well. Fast forward a few weeks, I was speaking at a conference in Vegas when I got a 911 text from my dad. He called and said Mike died from a sudden heart attack. My family didn't see it coming. No one did. He was gone in an instant. The daddy-daughter dance was the last time I ever took his photo and one of the last times I ever saw him. In the weeks and months that followed his passing, I began asking, what if I died today? What about my kids? What would I want to leave behind? What if I could teach them everything I've learned in life, just in case? Could you imagine documenting everything you've learned? I mean, why not? We live in an age where it's really easy to document our thoughts, our feelings, so why not document our wisdom? Could you imagine if our grandparents, our great-grandparents had the technology that we have and they would have done this? They could have taught you everything they learned in life. We are the beginning of our digital family trees. 5 generations from now, your family will be able to Google you. They'll see your Facebook posts, your tweets, your Instagram photos, everything. So what are you saying and teaching them right now? That line of thinking inspired me to launch an online platform called C University, where I'm teaching everything I know about photography, literally everything. Lighting, Photoshop, business, work-life balance, fear of failure, you name it. I'm teaching everything I know to hopefully inspire you to see your own potential in the world, to dream again, to hope again, and to try again. Think about that, little shy 5th percentile me from Hendersonville, Tennessee. And I'm now teaching the world about the very things in life that I couldn't do. So now you know what I've done with my 38 years of life here on earth. So what about my future? The truth is, there's another idea that I had 3 years ago that I've been terrified of. It's my Mount Everest, it's my Goliath. It's bigger than everything I just shared with you. The dream is, I want to build a hotel called the Purpose Hotel. Not just a hotel, but a global hotel chain. See, this hotel is going to change the world. Every room in the hotel is going to sponsor a child and tell their story. The internet fee is going to fight human trafficking. The room keys will be connected to the giving keys, which employ the homeless. There will be a functioning well in the lobby. The soap, the linens, the furniture, the art, the products, the design. Everything is going to be connected to a cause or nonprofit. Visually speaking, there's going to be unparalleled creativity throughout. By staying in this hotel, you will be impacting lives locally, domestically, and internationally. By staying at this hotel, you'll be changing the world in your sleep. It'll be the first hotel that's for the world, but built by the world. That's right, I'm going to attempt to crowdfund this hotel because I believe that you really do want to be the change that you wish to see in the world. Speaking of, everything is getting so much darker lately, isn't it? Terrorism, war, hunger, disease, poverty. Franklin Buechner said, "Purpose is where deep gladness meets the world's needs. The question is when, and I believe the time is now." So join me in building the purpose. Go to thepurposehotel.com and sign up for the mailing list. More importantly, mark your calendars for Tuesday, May 17th, 2016. That is the day that we will be launching the Hotel Kickstarter to the world. That is the day that we will begin making history by building the first hotel on the internet. Or if it's easier, simply grab your phone and text Purpose Hotel to 44222 to join us. So do you see what I did over the last couple of minutes? I took the first step by speaking my dreams and fears to you. There's nothing about this idea that exists yet except for the idea itself. But this is how ideas become reality. You have to take that first step. You have to speak your dream into existence. Text or email someone you love right now and share your dreams with them. If I can do all this, then just imagine what you can do. What have you been too afraid to try? What voices have kept you from reaching your potential? What voices have closed your sense of wonder? If you're alive, if you're breathing, we need you. We need your vision. Remember, the very word impossible actually spells I'm possible. You can do anything through Christ who strengthens you. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. If you go to my website right now, jeremycoward.com, we've made it very easy for you to sign up for the mailing list for the Purpose Hotel, C University, Help Portrait, or just my mailing list in general. Go sign up right now and we will keep you informed of all 4 of those things. And yeah, I look forward to meeting you and seeing you in the future. Thanks again.